News from the US, the country has been conducting intel gathering flights over large parts of Nigeria since late November. And this is according to flight tracking data and current and former US officials who've been cited in Reuters reports. The news agency, however, could not determine what information the flights are meant to obtain. The flight is in West Africa follows US President Donald Trump's threats in the month of November to militarily intervene in Nigeria over what he says is its failure to stop violence targeting Christian communities.
The United States has quietly begun flying surveillance aircraft over large parts of Nigeria almost daily since late November, just days after US President Donald Trump openly warned that Washington could take military action if Nigeria failed to stop the rising wave of terrorist violence. This is not speculation. This is not rumor. Flight tracking data, corroborated by current and former US officials, shows intelligence gathering missions crisscrossing Nigerian airspace from a base in Ghana. And suddenly, Nigeria's already tense security atmosphere has entered a new and delicate phase. Now at this point, if you are watching, please like this video and subscribe, because this story matters, not just for diplomacy, but for the lives of people living under constant fear in forests, villages, highways, and border communities across Nigeria. What exactly is happening? According to the data, a contractor-operated aircraft linked to the US military has been flying out of Accra, Ghana, entering Nigerian airspace, conducting wide surveillance sweeps, and then returning to base. This has been happening almost daily since the operation began. The aircraft is operated by Tenax Aerospace, a Mississippi-based company known for providing special mission aircraft and working closely with US military operations. The plane itself is a Gulfstream 5, no ordinary jet, often modified for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions. It is designed to stay airborne for long periods, quietly watching, listening, and mapping movements on the ground. And here is where the timing becomes impossible to ignore. These flights began shortly after President Trump, in November, threatened military intervention in Nigeria over what he described as the government's failure to halt violence targeting Christian communities. Let's pause here and think about that moment. Imagine villages in Nigeria's Middle Belt or Northeast, places where nights are already filled with fear, now learning that foreign surveillance aircraft may be watching from above. For some, it brings hope. For others, anxiety. And for armed groups hiding in forests, it signals danger. If you are watching, please like this video and subscribe. The chain of events. Chronologically, the story deepens. On November 7, flight tracking data shows the same Gulfstream V aircraft at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, the headquarters of U.S. Special Operations Command. This is not a coincidence. Then on November 20, Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, held a high-level security meeting with the U.S. Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth. According to a Nigerian security source, it was during this meeting that both sides agreed the U.S. would deploy air assets for intelligence gathering. 4 days later, November 24, the aircraft arrived in Ghana. Soon after, surveillance flights over Nigeria began. As we continue, please like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us share important stories responsibly. Why Ghana and why now? Liam Kay, Africa Team Lead at the Critical Threats Project of the American Enterprise Institute, analyzed the flight data and came to a clear conclusion. The operations are running out of Accra, a known hub for U.S. military logistics in Africa. This is significant because just last year, Niger ordered U.S. troops to leave a massive desert air base built at enormous cost. Niger then turned to Russia for security cooperation, effectively pushing the U.S. out of its strategic position in the Sahel. So now, Washington is rebuilding its regional surveillance capacity from Ghana, and Nigeria is at the center of it. In recent weeks, we've seen a resumption of intelligence and surveillance flights in Nigeria, Kay said. But here's where the story gets deeper. The kidnapping that changed everything. Months before these flights, a U.S. pilot working for a missionary aviation agency was kidnapped in neighboring Niger. That incident sent shockwaves through U.S. security circles. According to a former U.S. official, part of the current surveillance mission includes tracking the kidnapped American and gathering intelligence on militant groups operating across Nigeria, especially Boko Haram and its splinter faction, the Islamic State West Africa province. Picture the terrain for a moment. Dense forests, dry savannas, isolated roads, border areas where militants move silently at night. Communities where residents sleep with one ear open, listening for motorcycles or distant gunshots. This is the environment these surveillance aircraft are scanning. And somewhere below, families continue their daily lives. Farmers going to fields, traders opening stalls, children walking to school, unaware of how closely global powers are now watching their land. Please like this video and subscribe. Official silence and careful words. A current U.S. official confirmed that the aircraft has indeed been flying over Nigeria, but refused to give details, citing diplomatic sensitivity. Another administration official said Washington is working with Nigeria to address what it calls religious violence, anti-Christian attacks, and the destabilizing spread of terrorism. All officials spoke under condition of anonymity. The Pentagon, in a brief statement, confirmed that meetings with Nigerian officials after Trump's comments were productive, but declined to discuss intelligence matters. Nigeria's military spokesperson did not respond to requests for comment. Ghana's Deputy Defense Minister also remained silent. That silence is loud. Nigeria's position and a delicate disagreement. Nigeria's government has consistently maintained that armed groups in the country target both Muslims and Christians. Abuja argues that claims of systematic Christian persecution oversimplify a deeply complex security crisis and overlook efforts to protect religious freedom. And to be fair, victims of terrorism in Nigeria come from all backgrounds. In the northeast, Boko Haram has slaughtered Muslim clerics who opposed them. In the Middle Belt, entire Christian farming communities have been attacked. In the northwest, bandits kidnap anyone who can pay ransom. Faith does not matter. Still, despite the disagreement in framing, Nigeria has agreed to work with Washington to strengthen its forces against militant groups. Now, at this point, let me ask you, do you think foreign surveillance will actually improve security on the ground, or will it complicate Nigeria's sovereignty? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and please like this video and subscribe. Life under the shadow of insecurity. This surveillance operation is unfolding amid worsening insecurity across Nigeria. In Zamfara, Katsina, and Kaduna, bandits still control forest routes. In Borno, ISWAP continues to regroup. In Plateau and Benue, communities remain on edge after cycles of attacks and reprisals. Imagine the emotional toll. A mother listening to radio news about foreign military interests while worrying if her son will return safely from the farm. A soldier patrolling a highway knowing militants may be tracked from the sky but still armed and waiting. There is hope in intelligence, but there is also fear of escalation. Let's pause and think about the human side. For victims of violence, surveillance flights represent the possibility of early warning, rescue operations, and disrupted attacks. For communities, it may mean fewer ambushes, fewer mass kidnappings, but for militants, it means exposure. And exposed militants often strike harder before disappearing. Bigger questions Nigeria must face. This story is not just about aircraft in the sky. It is about Nigeria's long struggle with insecurity, weak intelligence coordination, under-equipped forces, and political tensions around religion and identity. It raises hard questions. Why has it taken foreign surveillance to address threats Nigerians have lived with for years? How can intelligence gathered from the air translate to safety on the ground? Will this cooperation remain transparent and respectful of Nigeria's sovereignty? And most importantly, how do we protect civilians caught between terrorists and geopolitics? Please like this video and subscribe as we reflect on these questions together. The road ahead. For now, the Gulfstream V continues to fly, quietly, methodically, watching roads, forests, camps, and movement patterns. Whether it leads to successful rescues, disrupted attacks, or stronger regional cooperation remains to be seen. What is clear is this: Nigeria's insecurity is no longer just a local issue. It has drawn global attention, global concern, and now global surveillance. The lesson for all of us is awareness. Communities must stay vigilant. Security agencies must improve coordination. Leaders must communicate honestly with citizens, and international partners must ensure their actions truly protect lives, not just strategic interests. As citizens, sharing information responsibly, avoiding panic, and supporting peace-building efforts matters more than ever. We must remember the victims. We must never blame them. And we must continue pushing for solutions that prioritize human life above politics. If you are watching, please like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us keep these conversations alive. Stay safe, stay informed, and let us hope that cooperation, local and international, finally brings lasting relief to communities that have endured far too much.